Maya Chen sat in the empty examination hall long after everyone else had left, staring at the red ink slashed across her paper. Like wounds she could not stop counting. 62. 62. Out of 300. It was her third failure in a row, and this time, she did not even have the energy to cry. She simply sat there, the paper trembling in her fingers, listening to the silence press down on her like a weight she could no longer carry. Around her, the white walls felt like they were closing in, indifferent and cold, the way the world had started to feel ever since she had decided to chase the dream of becoming a licensed architect. She was 28 years old, older than most of the other candidates, and every person in her life had already begun to speak about her in careful, hushed tones, the way people speak about someone they have quietly given up on. Her mother had stopped asking about the results. Her friends had stopped calling. Only the exam board kept writing to her, each letter a polite, clinical reminder that she was not enough. She folded the paper, tucked it into her bag, and walked out into the fading afternoon, not knowing that the most important moment of her life was waiting for her at the bottom of the stairs. He was an old man sitting on the steps outside the examination center, feeding pigeons from a paper bag, completely unbothered by the world rushing past him. He wore a worn gray jacket and shoes that had seen too many miles, and there was something about his stillness that made Maya slow down without meaning to. She does not know why she stopped. Perhaps it was exhaustion. Perhaps it was the way he looked up at her with eyes that held no pity, only a kind, steady curiosity. He asked her simply and without ceremony if she had done well. She laughed, short and bitter, and told him she had failed again. He nodded slowly, as if she had said something completely ordinary, and gestured for her to sit beside him. She almost walked away. She had no patience left for well-meaning strangers with their recycled advice. But something in her knees gave way, and she found herself sitting on that cold stone step, staring at the pigeons pecking at the ground. His name was Bernard. He told her he used to be a mathematics teacher for 40 years before he retired. He said he had sat on these very steps many times, watching students walk out of examinations, with that exact same expression on their faces, the look of someone who has confused a result with an identity. Maya turned to look at him then. He told her that the most dangerous thing a person can do after failing is to decide the failure means something permanent about who they are. He said failure is not a verdict. It is simply information. It tells you where the gap is, not how wide it is, not whether it can be crossed. Maya listened, and something old and tired inside her began to loosen. She told him she had been studying the same way every time, reading the textbooks front to back, memorizing the formulas, practicing past papers. He was quiet for a moment, and then he said the words that would change everything for her. He said, "You cannot fill a broken container by pouring more into it. First, you must understand where it is cracked." He asked her what she found hardest. She told him it was the structural calculations, the load-bearing equations that always slipped away from her no matter how many times she read them. He nodded and reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a small, worn notebook. He opened it to a blank page and handed her his pen. He told her to draw what she thought a load-bearing structure was, not from the textbook but from her own understanding. She hesitated, then drew something rough and imperfect. He looked at it carefully and said, "Here, this is where your thinking breaks. Not here, not everywhere, just here." And for the next hour, on the steps of that examination center, in the golden light of a fading afternoon, Bernard taught Maya how to understand what she had only been memorizing. He did not give her answers. He gave her a way to think. When she finally stood to leave, she felt lighter than she had in years, not because the problem was solved, but because it had become small enough to hold. She thanked him, and he smiled and told her that starting from zero is not the same as starting from nothing. Zero is a number. It has value. It is a place you can build from. 4 months later, Maya Chen passed her licensing examination with distinction. She framed her result and hung it beside a photograph she had taken that same afternoon of an old man feeding pigeons on stone steps, looking at the world like it still had plenty of good things left to offer. She never saw Bernard again, but she carried him with her into every room she ever designed, every structure she ever raised from the ground, every student she later mentored, who sat across from her with red ink. on their papers and defeat in their eyes. She would look at them the way he had looked at her, without pity, without impatience. And she would say, "Tell me where it is hardest. Let us start from there." If this story moved you, please like, share, and subscribe to Kindness Corner Stories, where every story is a reminder that one quiet act of human kindness can rebuild what the world has broken.